pictures we're about to show you are probably going viral all over Japan of Donald Trump unceremoniously overturning an entire box of fish feed into the fish pond at the Akasaka Palace. If the Japanese were shocked, they certainly did not show it. This visit is important to Prime Minister Shinzo Abe at a time when he is banking on American support to tackle North Korea's saber-rattling. There you see the American president. Mr. Abe also counting on the U.S. to counter China's military assertiveness in the seas around Japan. So the Japanese have been polite and attentive despite Trump being Trump. Not so the South Koreans. Here's a taste of what he's likely to receive when he lands in Seoul on Tuesday. Demonstrators demanding peace talks with North Korea and an end to South Korea's military exercises with the U.S.
We urge U.S. President Donald Trump to solve issues on the Korean Peninsula by halting the South Korean-U.S. joint military drills and making North Korea stop further development of its nuclear and missile program through dialogue and negotiation, not sanctions or pressure.
South Korean President Moon Jae-in is a former human rights lawyer who has warned that there can be no war until his government says so. He's concerned over the operational control the U.S. will exercise over his military in the event of war. The South Koreans are confused by Trump's statements. There is no U.S. ambassador in Seoul, so nobody to clarify matters with. Trump has junked former President Obama's policy of strategic patience, as he called it, with North Korea. He has also said that he is willing to talk to North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. China could be an even tougher sell for the U.S. president. There's already a perception that Trump has been weakened by the investigation over Russian meddling in the U.S. elections. Xi Jinping, on the other hand, is seen as fully in control of the Chinese ship of state. Media reports say the Chinese may even see Trump as somebody they can manipulate with tactical concessions. President Xi has told U.S. businessmen about plans to open up the Chinese market. American firms Tesla and JP Morgan Chase could gain entry. American web companies remain hopeful of Beijing being allowed into China. And the China Petroleum could create thousands of jobs in Texas and the Virgin Islands. So both stand to benefit. The U.S. has $347 billion worth of trade deficit with China. Little has happened so far to suggest that China is serious about reducing it. The Chinese have their list of demands. Several deals involving Chinese firms taking over U.S. firms have fallen apart over national security issues. The U.S. refuses to categorize China as a market economy. There are intellectual property disputes. There may be even less comfort from China on North Korea. China knows President Trump is transactional, but in their view, all transactions are two-way streets. One has to give to get back. The Saudi-led military coalition is conducting airstrikes against Iran-backed Houthi rebels in Yemen. They have blocked off access to all Yemeni air and sea ports. The move comes after a missile fired from Yemen reached close to Riyadh airport before it was intercepted and shot down by Saudi Arabia's air defense. The Saudis were in no doubt about whom to blame. Colonel Turki al-Maliki, spokesperson for Saudi-led coalition in Yemen, said, and I quote, "The Houthis' dangerous escalation came because of Iranian support." U.S. President Donald Trump, too, had little doubts. He told reporters on his way to Tokyo that he was convinced that Iran was behind the missile attack. Tehran has become America's enemy number one, and President Trump never misses an opportunity to criticize the Iran nuclear deal. Interestingly, both Saudi Arabia and Israel are on his side. But some traditional allies have abandoned Trump in his anti-Iran crusade. The European Union, for one, has reiterated it will respect Iran's nuclear agreement. The EU has praised Tehran for complying with the terms of the agreement. France is spearheading the pro-Iran front. The International Atomic Energy Agency has repeatedly said that Iran is fulfilling its commitments. Russia, too, is an obstacle to Trump's anti-Iran agenda. Moscow is militarily allied with Tehran in Syria, besides Bashar al-Assad. Vladimir Putin visited Tehran last week and sees Iran as an ally in maintaining stability in West Asia. So the Islamic Republic of Iran has a vast and complicated network of alliances now across and beyond. Some countries, as we've just shown you, are in favor of the Shia majority country. Others are dead against it. As with most things in the Middle East, the dictum, my enemy's enemy is my best friend, prevails. Let's take a look at who is on which side of the fence and why. Let's talk about Qatar first. Both countries have a friendly relationship. Qatar and Iran enjoy close economic ties. An example of that is the South Pars North Dome gas field, which both countries share. Iran has close ties with Syria. Syria's support to Iran grew under the rule of Saddam Hussein. There is cooperation over support to Hezbollah in Lebanon. The United States and Canada often refer to these two allies as the axis of evil. Despite differences, India and Iran still retain their diplomatic ties. Both countries have taken initiatives against the Taliban in Afghanistan. Beyond defense cooperation, India is the second largest oil supplier to Iran. The European Union supports Iran on the nuclear deal, which US President Donald Trump refused to decertify last month. The Europeans trust IAEA reports that Iran is adhering to the agreement signed during the Obama years and has threatened to block efforts by the US to exit it. Iran's relationship with Iraq improved after the death of Saddam Hussein. So far, both countries have signed 100 economic and cooperative agreements. As of today, Iran is Iraq's largest trading partner, and both countries are allies against the terrorist group, the Islamic State. Iran's relations with Lebanon remain strong despite the resignation of Prime Minister Saad Hariri. Both countries have ancient ties and full diplomatic relationship. Iran founded and funded the Hezbollah in Lebanon, but United States, Israel and Saudi Arabia and its allies have strongly been against Iran. All three countries do not have diplomatic ties. The US calls Iran a murderous regime. Israel terms it a danger to the world, while Saudi Arabia has defined Iran as a regime of extremist ideology. Look who's talking.